everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2001 movie 13 Ghosts. The movie is directed by Steve Beck and written by Benjamin Carr, Rob White, and Richard DeVidio, and this movie follows the Kritko's family, I think is how you say their names. They move into this house. It's inherited by Arthur's uncle. He's like the dad of the family, and they move in there and everything. They find out that his uncle Cyrus was like a ghost hunter, and he collected 12 ghosts, and they're locked away in his basement. Like one of his like helpers, named Dennis, played by Matthew Lillard, they're posing as an electric man and everything, trying to get in there and find out stuff about this house. And the house is made of glass and has a lot of Latin spells on the walls and stuff. And in the basement, the 12 ghosts are locked up and everything, and they're trying to figure out a way to get out of the house, because once they get in there, they're locked in and everything. There's like a big twist at the end of the movie where we find out that Cyrus is actually alive and planning on turning Arthur into the 13th ghost so that he can unleash hell on Earth. And that's pretty much the story of the movie. I think this one is okay. I loved it a lot as a kid. It's one of those movies that I loved as a kid that I feel hasn't really aged well, and I don't like it near as much as I did back then. But I think it's an alright movie. It does have some really good kills, especially this one kill where the guy who's like that gives them the will and stuff, and like what are they called? The guy who like gives them the house. His death is really cool. He like gets cut in half and everything. Is pretty brutal, but it's a pretty good kill. But I noticed something in this movie that the kills seem to be neutered. I don't know if the MPAA was really harsh on this movie, or if it was just that they just weren't very good kills. But some of the kills just were not real great, but they did have some good ones. My least favorite kill out of all of them, though, would be Dennis, played by Matthew Lillard. I hated his death and everything. I hated to see him die, because he kind of has this jerk side to him and everything, and he's kind of he's a likable character and not a very likable character. He does good and bad things in this movie, but he did have a redemption arc and everything, and I hated that he had to die and everything. And personally, I think that Matthew Lillard was the best thing about this movie. I remember as a kid, he was the main reason I wanted to see this movie, and is really the best part about the whole movie to me. The rest of the cast, though, are alright, though. Tony Shalhoub plays Arthur, and the dad, and he does a pretty good job and everything. There's a couple scenes where he gets really emotional and stuff, and I thought he did a pretty good job in those scenes. And then his daughter's played by Shannon Elizabeth, and she's pretty good. His Kathy, really likable character and everything. And of course, Shannon Elizabeth is pretty likable in everything that I've seen her in. I liked her quite a bit in this one. And Alec Roberts plays Bobby, the youngest one out of the family, and he's not a very likable kid. He's actually really kind of annoying and everything, and I really kind of wanted him to die in this movie, to be honest. But of course they wouldn't kill him off because he's a kid, but he just really got on my nerves. And then Rod Digga plays Maggie, who was the maid of the housekeeper or whatever that helps, or not housekeeper, nanny. I don't know why I said housekeeper, but she's okay. She kind of feels stereotypical, like the way that she talks and everything is like stereotypical talk for an African American character, especially back in the 2000s and stuff. And she was okay in this movie, but she got on my nerves quite a bit and everything. Her acting just was not that great, and she was over the top and annoying. But I did like the song that she did that plays during the credits of the movie. I just didn't think that her character was very likable, and she just kind of got on my nerves. F. Murray Abram plays Cyrus, and I think he does a pretty good job too. And all the people that played the ghosts are all really pretty good in here, especially the one that I can't remember I don't remember all the ghost names, but the one that the naked girl that committed suicide in the bathtub, she was really creepy. She used to freak me out as a kid. And everything. And of course, back then when this movie came out, I was just starting puberty, so I used to think that she was really hot. I don't know why the hell I did, because now you look at her, it's like really, really gross looking. Of course, this was one of the first movies I ever saw with boobs stuff and everything. I just was like, man, I can't believe I used to think that was hot. And back then, because it used to be like I'm both frightened and aroused. But yeah, she's not anything to look at now. But my main complaints about this movie is I feel like, besides the one ghost, which is Arthur's wife that got killed in a fire, none of the other ghosts, they don't go into their backstories or say how they died. I think they should make like a spin-off or even do like a show or something showing the backstories of these characters. I know they did do comics and stuff, and I've read about them, but I don't really know too much about it. But I think that it would have been a lot cooler if we got to see backstories for these ghosts and how the people died and everything. I think it would have been a lot better and everything. And I did see the twist coming that was going on in this movie. Some reason it just was not really that surprising. Of course, as a kid though, I think it did surprise me, but I hadn't watched this movie in over 15 years, so when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, I see this twist coming from a mile away and everything. I didn't really hardly remember anything about the movie except for the naked ghost, because like I said, back then I thought it was really, really hot and stuff. But the score by John Frizzell is actually pretty good. I think that it does a good job making it suspenseful and stuff and creepy. And I think the score is really good too. And like the sets and stuff are really well done for the most part. There is some bad CGI towards the end of the movie though that kind of take me out of it. That it definitely hasn't aged very well at all. Some of that early 2000s CGI that is really bad. I mean, most CGI nowadays is bad, but back in the early 2000s it was even worse back then in some movies, and this is one of those cases. But all in all, I think that 13 Ghosts is an alright movie. It's not one of my most favorites, and I was disappointed on rewatch because, like I said, I hadn't seen it since I was a kid and everything. It's one of those movies that I watched as a kid that just isn't as fun and everything. It has its nostalgia and stuff, but it's just not as good as it used to be. So I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's an alright movie. I'd probably rewatch it every once in a blue moon, but it's not one that I'd want to rewatch very often. I also found out that this movie is a remake. I didn't even know that it was a remake because the original version came out in 1960, I think. So I'm going to try to find that, and if I do, I'll probably do a review for that one eventually. But let me know in the comments what you think of 13 Ghosts, and just out of curiosity, who is your favorite ghost out of all of them? I think that mine probably would be the guy with the hammer. That's really creepy looking. I just thought the makeup effects on him was amazing. Or that little boy, I thought he was kind of cool looking too. Or all of them were pretty cool, but I think my favorite one is the guy with the hammers. Let me know in the comments who your favorite ones are, and what you think of this movie, and if you think they should do like a TV show or another movie that like shows the backstories of the characters. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.